Okay, so one of the last videos that I did was regarding practice area pages, how to tell how many practice area pages you need, or how to kind of divide up the case types depending on if they're kind of like a modifier to the main case type, or if they're like a parent category versus a more niche one. But I'm going to go straight into now, once you get that understanding and you've got your list of different practice area pages that you need to write, this is how to use Surfer SEO to write optimized content for your law firm website. So we're going to go straight into it here. We are looking at Surfer SEO. Once you log in, this is the look that you get. So we are going to go to the content editor. And depending on when you're watching this, the UI might look different because it used to have a button on the side that said content editor. But you want to first understand that the main tool within Surfer SEO that we're using is content editor. So, or at least for this video, right? So let's go ahead and do something like this. Car accident lawyer. So we're gonna go after like the main car accident high intent queries, car accident lawyer searches for, let's say, Orlando. So we're gonna put in a car accident lawyer. I'm going to select, let's see if it has, yeah, it has Orlando as the city. If it does not have the city that you're trying to target, you might be in a very small city. You might not need Surfer SEO. You might be over optimizing if that's the case. Otherwise, if you still want to use it, you would just have to write within the keyword. You'd have to go ahead and put the city right into the query. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and select Orlando. And then obviously most people that are searching this are online are going to be on mobile. So I'm using mobile as my default, but this is for Google specifically. And I can get into the difference between platforms later, but don't worry, the content that you optimize from here, it does, apply for other platforms. It still does perform really well on other platforms, but Google obviously has the most data that we can pull from, and the most kind of like go-to place, obviously, for people to search for their lawyer. So that's what we're using here. So you could be more specific and do car accident lawyer near me, but it's going to be the same thing here. So let's go ahead and hit create. And you have to give it a moment. This will finish loading, and then we'll go in there and start setting it up. So I like to reference these as configurations. I don't know if Surfer SEO has their own name for these, like separate entities. All of these are different ones I've put in the past. So I'm going to pause and unpause here when this one is ready for us to mess with. All right, so it is ready for us. So we're going to go ahead and click on that Surfer content editor configuration, and we can see it is going to be all blank because we don't have any content to start out with. This is an example of just kind of starting fresh. So we are going to go over on the right, and we are going to do a competitor selection. So it looks like at a glance, they give you some information, but this is all kind of automatically set up. So we do want to go over here and locate that customize settings button here. And that's going to take you to the first step that we have to go through. So first, you want to make sure that you're selecting proper competitors. You'll notice that it went ahead and deselected Super Lawyers, the directory site. And obviously, yeah, like that makes a lot of sense, right? You wouldn't want to compare your page optimizations to that of a directory, but you can also go a step further and deselect maybe law firms that you know you don't directly compete against, because maybe they handle car accidents, but they also do like family law or something, or maybe they do like every type of case. So you're trying to get the best data to input into the system. So in this case, it went ahead and removed Farah and Farah, their Orlando page. I'm going to guess it's because this isn't targeting car accidents. Maybe it ranks for certain queries with their PI page, but this is a PI page, not their car accident page. So if you wanted to select Farah and Farah for your analysis there, you would have to actually locate the correct page. Otherwise, just deselect it. So for this example, let's not get too complicated and fancy here. Let's just deselect that because it's not a proper comparison. Um, so here we have this attorney, this one. Is this the PI page? This is the PI page. So I also don't want to use this. It's not going to be, it's not going to have the same type of content that we're going after. Same thing here. It's a PI page. That's Yelp. And here's, so I usually deselect this one because this law firm doesn't always put any content on their page. They just have these sections which are mainly templatized. And a lot of this here is just content where they swap out the city name. So a lot of this, if not all of it, is just templatized. This isn't actually specific to the type of content we're about to produce. So I'm going to deselect that law firm from this one. And then I might go ahead and add one that I do like. In this case, we have this page. They're not getting much traffic. So I'm going to stop my selection of competitors there. Well, let's go ahead and let me add one more because it's only 2 and I like to do a minimum of 3. So I'm using Ahrefs to double check if they really do get a lot of traffic. Otherwise, I'm not going to use them. But that is a kind of almost like an extra step that I like to take. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select this one here. I quickly opened it up and noticed that their page does get a ton of traffic. So that would be a great competitor, but you're essentially just using the tool here to choose suitable competitors to analyze. And now we will look at here the word count. So every time you make a different selection there, it does go ahead and update these numbers. So basically it's telling you that based on your selection, most of the competitors are using some pretty big pages. So you're getting a word count of 4,200. So if you want to, you can go back and double check just in case, but it looks like, yeah, it looks like in this city, everybody's just going ahead and providing tons and tons of information off of this main page versus trying to do less of it. So looks fairly accurate. I'm going to go ahead and choose a bit of a smaller word count because a lot of times I feel like the 4,000 is just a little crazy. But this is where it differs depending on your writers and how picky they might get. It's, you're not going to get a bad page using the default suggestion, but I like to kind of customize it and bring it a bit down after I take a look at that. But after you give that breakdown, oh, oops, I hit the reset button. After you update these numbers, you'll notice that the numbers over here change as well. So the other difference that I might make is if I don't want to use as many images, I might come in and just kind of specify just maybe a max of 3. This does go back to how many stock images you are buying per article. If you even need that many. Some articles you might need infographics for. And sure, you can use AI as well. Just don't use something that looks all broken. There's a lot of law firms that just use really weird, wonky page images. But infographics, you could also even, if you need to, go ahead and hire a freelancer to produce an infographic given some data you might have on a page. But otherwise, I'm usually bringing down the image count. Again, if I determine that I really need it, I might come back and do that custom. But from this process, I think that this is fine to continue. So now we are looking at the word selection. So I like to keep it simple here, not using any of the other NLP, any other more buzzwordy type of things. I just use this main section here, and you'll notice it's already pre-selecting a good number of words, phrases, keywords, and it's also doing one more thing here. Let me try to zoom in so it's easier to see. That H icon signifies that the tool is suggesting that you go ahead and mention these words or phrases within a heading somewhere. So I don't like forcing the writer to put in near me. It looks a little goofy and it's totally not needed. It's just going ahead and putting that in as a default choice because of what I entered as the query. So I'm going to deselect its recommendation of putting that in as a heading. Otherwise, now I'm going to look through these and see if there's anything that does not make sense. So they've come a long way as far as improving these suggestions, but one thing that I like to start out with is trying to see if there's any instances of contact us, privacy policy, disclaimer, free consultation, law firm, law office, words that don't need to be forced over to the writer to include on the article. So let me make some deselections right here. Anything that is not relevant, right? So Central Florida, that's pretty relevant. It's suggesting you even put it in a heading. Yeah, that'll look good. What's not going to be relevant? Spinal cord injuries are relevant to car accidents, obviously, even if you have a separate page for spinal cord. But if this says divorce or something, or if it said slip and fall, if it said other accident types like premises or anything like that, you want to deselect that. You don't want that being forced into the page from your writer. Sure, you might have sections on your page that mention the other case types that you do, but this process is not, that's not for this process right now. So some other things that I might deselect, again, law office, we don't need that, but it looks like everything else is going to be good. I don't like personal injury being said too many times on the car accident page just because it might conflict with your separate personal injury page that you have. So if I see it being recommended too many times, I might go ahead and deselect that, especially from any headings, because I don't want to put too much emphasis on a different thing that I'm trying to rank for from a different page. Other than that, everything here looks good. You can look at the other optional selections that you could put in here. Basically, the AI that's being used here isn't entirely sure if the rest of these words are relevant. So now it's up to you or your SEO tech, whoever's doing this that's on the SEO optimization side, to try to see if there's anything else worth putting in here. Non-economic damages, there's usually a bunch of the more common non-economic damages are going to get listed on there, so I want to put that in as a suggestion to the writer. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just kind of gonna breeze right through here. Settlement, sure, that's recovery. I'm just going to breeze through here without spending too much extra time. You can see here very faintly orange, medium relevance, red, low relevance. So a lot of times after you've read through medium, you can kind of skip through the rest. Okay, so topics. So these are like heading suggestions. And sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you get bad ones. So is it worth getting an attorney for a car accident? How many? So a lot of these questions, they're a little bit generic, or the answer is so simple that, I mean, if it's that simple, how hard is it to win? That's fine to put on here. If there's anything that can be expanded upon, you might want to even use these subtopics to do a separate blog post on the website. But you can choose which ones, because sometimes you might have ones in there that are talking about like how much money you can get, and maybe you don't want to share that on your page. So these are a little bit more optional than the rest of these suggestions. Otherwise, if you have, and here it says people also ask, but if you see anything else that looks relevant from these suggestions, such as one that I had just mentioned here from a selection I did, non-economic damages, if you see anything else, proving negligence, sure, that could be a subsection on the page. You can go ahead and select that, and it's going to relay this over to the writer. Otherwise, again, the most important part is really just the selection that you're doing up here to guide everything. Okay, and then if you have custom topics, so let's say you are looking at the competitors yourself, and let's say you noticed a subheading that you really like this one here, car accident statistics. Maybe you really like that and the AI didn't suggest it, so you can go ahead and do maybe car accident statistics for Central. I don't know if you would have some for Orlando specifically, but maybe Central Florida. If you do your research and you have something specific for the city, then go ahead and make it more specific so it's more tailored for this given page. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. Oh, oops. And now we are ready. We can go ahead and hit let's go. So at this point, you can go ahead and share this over with your writer. As you can see here, it tells you anyone with this link can edit it. So if you just copy the link, let's say you go, and I'm not signed in here. I'm not signed in at all to Surfer, but you don't need to. This gives you access just to that configuration that you just messed with. So this is great for going ahead and just giving the link, the URL to your writer, and they can do all of their work in here. And once it's done, there is even a button for it to be marked as done. That way you can tell if you're logged into Surfer which ones are marked as done. Otherwise, I usually just have writers tell me from a different process from like a task management platform. So it depends if you want to use that or not. And it looks like there's other features that have been added over time, such as commenting directly in the configuration. This might be great to organize your comments so that you're not all over the place, especially if you're using different writers. But now it's giving an up-to-date look based on your selection. Now it's telling your writer at a glance, oh, you want to check competitors? Here you go. Use these ones. These are the approved ones. Oh, you want to quickly check their headings without opening it up and using an Ahrefs extension tool or whatever? Don't worry, you've got them right here. So if your writers are more experienced at writing content for SEO or like competitive content to try to gain traffic, they might have more use for this than not, right? So, and here are, you can see here, there's the topic that I put in there custom. Otherwise, you get all the other ones in here. And we get a live update as to how well we're doing as we write this article out. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go ahead and just use their built-in AI tool. Oh, here, let me explain a little bit here. Guidelines. So as you produce the content, it is going to give you this little like performance gauge here, and it is going to tell you how well optimized it is. Something that's very important here to note is that you probably shouldn't force your writer to hit 100 because right here it's telling you that the average, based on their, the way that the platform handles it, it's saying that the top competitors that you chose on average would get like a 55 score. And the top end of the competitor's top score is 70. So if you're going to tell your writer to fit a certain number, I would say just hit 55 or anything above 55. Or maybe you would say, okay, just hit 70. But don't go past that, because if you go past what it's telling you, that's how you over optimize things and just make it a mess of keywords. And you don't want that. So let's go ahead and try to use their AI features. Insert terms, not enough words for the term assistant. So let me use the outline tool. Insert outline. And it can very quickly break down an outline for you using AI, using all of the suggestions that you just put in. And now you can see something that actually gives you an overall like framework of what a practice area page will look like. A top ranking one, a very competitive one. So I just realized I'm in incognito here. I'm still like not on the logged in version. That's probably why I don't see all the buttons. But okay, so whenever you use AI for content generation, and we can cover this in a different topic, but I'm about to use AI here, you always want to start with an outline. This provides sort of like like when you're bowling, you get the railings. You always want to put like limits on AI so that it doesn't go wildly off or make hallucinations and make things up. So if you just skim through the outline and it looks pretty good, then you can continue. Otherwise, you would have to mess with this so that you're not, getting the AI to produce some crazy information for your page. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and use an AI credit from SurferSEO here, and I'm going to hit the auto optimize button. Just for the sake of this video, instead, because right now what I usually would do is I would give this over to a writer and then wait for them to complete it. Um, but let's just go ahead and test out their AI features here. So it takes a while. It analyzes different sections. They have their own process, right? That's been built over time. I've contributed a bit to helping the legal content come out a little bit better on the platform, but I don't even know to what extent my feedback was used. If anything, it comes down to like more of the outline features or template features that they have. But they've definitely been paying attention to all of the people that are using Surfer SEO for law firms. So you can imagine that there is a level of understanding that is much higher than just using like ChatGPT to go ahead and write the content for you. But let me pause and I'm going to unpause once it's completely done. But it is cool if you just sit here and look at it, you can kind of see it work its way through and make its adjustments. All right, so that took about 1 minute. Not bad. I'm sure it depends on server load, like when you're doing it. Like right now, it's a Sunday, but again, it's AI. So you could set up multiple configurations for multiple pages and then just go down the line and have them all run it. And then you go do something else while it's doing its work. Okay, so let's scroll to the top and now we're going to take a look. And feel free to pause the video and kind of like come back to it because, I'll go a little bit quick through it. But since I've done, or well, since I've delegated this and had my team write so many of these pages, it's a little bit quicker for me to just go through and kind of identify all of the more common topics, different phrases, different references being made that you would want to be doing from a car accident practice area page. And then obviously it goes ahead and provides the exact amount of times that the words would be in there, but you're doing a lot of like, there's a lot of averages being used, right? You can for sure come in here and change any of this, make it your own, humanize it, right? Now, I don't subscribe to the thought of AI detection tools being that useful. So I wouldn't go and run this through another AI tool to humanize it. That's a little silly. But the rest of your process should include a human, right? Like if you are using AI to generate all the content for you, then you're not hiring writers. You would be hiring editors who just revise it for you, right? Which is much cheaper than having them write it fresh. So, but this looks really good. I really like it. Again, if you're an attorney and maybe you're coming in as the revision step and making sure that everything is accurate, maybe you go ahead and place some comments and send it back to your writer and say, hey, I know some more valuable info that wasn't included on here. If you could just kind of incorporate this in there. Because all of those different things that you add on after this does improve performance or like competitiveness, right? So if you're in a tiny little city where it doesn't matter what you write, then probably don't spend that much time and effort on it. But if you're in a city like Orlando and you're going after car accident cases, yeah, you probably want to start putting in all those little levels of quality checks, but also improvements to make this more competitive. But at this point, we have, oh, and for example, like this, like it's kind of a clear giveaway that you're using AI if all your concluding paragraphs say conclusion. So that's one of the steps in my SOPs and my instructions that somebody else would come in and write a better concluding topic, better concluding heading for it. And obviously, since I'll use humans in the process, they'll just notice that and already know to go ahead and fix that. But at this point, you can hit save and close. And then now in the platform of Surfer, it'll be documented that it's like, it's a completed one, completed article, whatever. You can even create folders. If you're a marketer yourself and you're working on different clients, you could do like different folders. That way it's easier for you to find the completed configurations. Otherwise, my writers usually just go ahead and put it on like a draft on the website. It depends if we have auto approval or not. For some clients, they literally go from here and they push it. I believe there's integrations that you can go ahead and push it out, but from here they go ahead and grab it. They've got all the formatting they need, H1s, H2s, dotted lines. They've got everything they need to just copy paste this and push it out to the website. So you can see here, going through all of this, not incredibly complicated, right? If you follow all the steps, there is a workflow that SurferSEO provides when you use their content editors, and that workflow can be delegated to other people. So if this is too confusing for you as a lawyer, it's okay. I mean, I think it's good for you to understand at least what I was able to do right there, so that you can be checking up on your internal marketers or external agency, whoever you hire. But if you have internal marketing staff and this is too confusing for them, you are so far behind at this point as far as content generation, content production for your law firm website, because you can see you don't actually have to rely entirely on the AI, but using it in your workflow is tremendously like it optimizes the workflow. It's so much more efficient if you use tools like this, because now you don't have to have a paralegal even being in charge of doing the writing. Maybe you just get a paralegal to do all the revising and approving of the content for it to go live. But at this point, if you can't follow a workflow like this and you're getting lost in the AI usage here, you are really far behind, because there's people from all sorts of places around the globe that you can hire to do this for you, and they're already doing this for your competitors, so you can kind of imagine. But if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments section, or reach out to us from our website. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching the whole video. Give me a like if this helped you out, and go ahead and subscribe if you want more content like this. Thanks.